Okay, here on Aussie New Zealand, this trade is similar to my last PA, but different. The logic to this one is a lot stronger, I believe. The trap is more clear. The time span between the trap and the pullback is a lot shorter. It's not a whole month, it's just a few days. So I think that has a big play in this. So what potentially I was trying to do was trade this as a primary type, or bounce trade from the trap, whatever you may call it, but the primary push from the trap. So if I just zoom out, I see this huge range that's been going on forever, since last year. And it finally broke above, and this could be our last guys selling from the top of the range, and they got trapped along with tons of other people. Lots of money in this range. So with that being said, we had this push to the upside, and then it just held and held and held. It pushed up to here and ranged for a couple days, and then we broke to the downside. So that is definitely going to get sellers interested, and to buy from the trap, we need sellers to be interested. So that's what caught my interest. So I was seeing this come back near New York Open. Lots of volume up here. It's my last high volume. This actual push down didn't have super high volume on it, and as we were coming towards the trap area, the volume was starting to increase. So down to my precision. Okay, on the precision, zoom out a little bit. We have this. This was the range that broke to the downside, inviting the sellers. Move this out of the way, and so we push down. We have this prolonged range on this lower time frame, and then a breakdown. And there is some highish volume in here, so that was an area to potentially watch out for. I have an alarm there. But my target area was this trap, bottom side of this trap, that bigger range. So as the push was coming down, making lower lows, guy who started this last push, it's kind of hard to tell with these weird little movements. But I marked out this guy. I didn't really like any of this because that minuscule last little stuff got me in trouble on my last trade, so I wanted to go a little more cautiously on this one. Notice the volume isn't really high on this. This is New York Stock Exchange opening. Super high volume at the very bottom near this trap, which is good. This push down, higher volume down here. So this smaller downtrend is in jeopardy. It's not doing so well. So that's a plus. In the trap area, that's a check. That's a plus. We have room to profit. This one I was shooting at about 1.8 with spreads. I was trying to get 2, but the spreads are high on Aussie New Zealand for me. So what we potentially have is, I looked at this as the guy who started, and we came up and tested him with super high volume now behind us. We broke above, and I could look at this as also kind of like a guy who started, and then we broke above him. And all the volume is behind us. So there's nobody in front of us until up here, and that even that volume isn't as comparable to this. There's nobody in front of us to really stop us. So I looked at this as the volume being behind us, the wall behind us. This guy I'm not scared of, so I can attempt to anticipate taking him out on any pullback we get towards this little mini trap area, because there were sellers. They even attempted here and then broke above, which trapped these last guys if there was anybody selling. I came in after this, around this area, and saw that it had been used once. I said, you know what? If it goes, it goes. If it comes back to this area, I will attempt a second time, because there's still volume behind us. So for me to test this area one more time was okay. And so I set my buy limit here, finally filled me in. The spreads actually filled me way up here, which took some of that profit. Stops were just below these guys, right around this area. And take profit was up here, knowing that this could potentially mess with me. The one thing I do notice was the time of day is bad. Well, it's starting to be bad. It's starting to get close to the dead hours of New York. That's lunchtime New York. I potentially took my buy entry. It just hung around. Let me move this over here. So it just hung around in this area. It never broke through, never went lower. It was just kind of him hauling around just above my entry. But I noticed the volumes weren't dying as they normally do. Normally this time they're just dead, so I was like, maybe there's something going on. There wasn't really any news releases around this time to support all this volume, but there was still a lot of activity, so I just continued to let it run. And eventually, trading view acting up. All right, and eventually I just ended up closing it. The day got later. I didn't want to mess with it anymore. It had gotten up to this potential area and was just giving me lots of problems, so I just closed it. It eventually did go in the Asia session after a crazy whipsaw, crazy spike here to the upside. But I think overall, probably something I don't want to do, or just something to learn from this, is the hours. Even though volume and everything's supported, the hours aren't that good. This is on a Monday also. I'm not sure how much the markets normally move on a Monday. Around lunchtime New York is usually when everything dies off. And as you can see, it's what it did. It just slowly pushed up and hit this highish volume area until it finally broke later. But so I think the read was good. I think everything else was good. The traps were okay. I was a little conservative, had the volume behind me. Lots of goods on this one, which supported me to take this, but time of day didn't. So we'll try to stick away from that time of day, unless we have some crazy news releases coming out later in the days that I'm aware of. But all right, this video's gone on long enough, and that's it.